Imagine a continent full of strong families, beautiful villages, and women who led with wisdom and courage. Now picture white men from Europe arriving with guns and lies, stealing not just land, but bodies and souls. What if their greed woke a curse that still whispers in the wind? Dare to face the true horror of how white men colonized Africa badly, raping and maltreating women in ways that broke hearts and nations? This is Dark Africa Files, bringing you real history with a touch of fiction to show the pain. Let's journey through time, from the 1400s to the 1900s, to see the scars left by European colonizers. Long ago, Africa was a land of mighty kingdoms. In West Africa, the Songhai Empire traded gold and salt across the Sahara. Women like Queen Amina of Zazzau rode to battle, leading armies with strength and honor. But in 1441, Portuguese ships docked at the coast. They didn't come for friendship. They came for slaves. White men like Prince Henry the Navigator sent explorers to capture Africans. By 1500, the transatlantic slave trade began. Over 12 million people were chained and shipped to the Americas. Women suffered the worst. On the Middle Passage, they were locked in dark holds, barely breathing. Guards raped them at night, treating them like property. Many died from the pain, their bodies thrown into the sea. Fictional Nala, a 25-year-old Yoruba woman with dark skin, short braided hair, and a height of 5 feet 4 inches, was one of them. She prayed to Yemoja, the sea goddess, for strength, but the curse of the white men's greed silenced her cries. In the 1600s, the Dutch and British joined the horror. In Cape Colony, South Africa, Dutch settlers called Boers took Khoisan land. Khoisan women, like 20-year-old Tila with light brown skin, long straight hair, and a height of 5 feet 2 inches, were forced to work as servants. Boers raped them, seeing them as less than human. Tila's story, drawn from real accounts, shows how colonizers used violence to control. They spread diseases like smallpox, killing thousands. Women bore the burden, caring for sick children while facing abuse. The curse grew. European men believed African women were for their pleasure, a lie that justified the pain. By the 1800s, the scramble for Africa began. At the Berlin Conference in 1884, white leaders like Otto von Bismarck and King Leopold II divided Africa without asking. No African voices were heard. In the Congo, Leopold claimed the land as his own. He wanted rubber for tires and bicycles. Congolese women suffered terribly. Soldiers from the force publique, led by white officers, forced men to harvest rubber. If quotas weren't met, they cut off women's breasts or raped them in front of families. Over 10 million died from starvation and abuse. Fictional Kesi, a 30-year-old Congolese woman with ebony skin, tight coiled hair, and a height of 5 feet 3 inches, hid in the jungle. Her village burned. She heard the spirits of the dead curse the white men, their cries echoing in the rain. Real survivors like those in Adam Hochschild's book King Leopold's Ghost tell of women tied to trees and left to die, their bodies a warning. In German East Africa, the Maji Maji rebellion of 1905 saw Africans fight back. Women like 18-year-old Zuri with dark brown skin, cornrow hairstyle, and a height of 5 feet 1 inch, carried water for warriors, believing Maji, magic water, would stop bullets. Germans, led by white officers, responded with terror. They burned crops and raped women in villages, calling it pacification. Over 75,000 died from famine and violence. Zuri's fictional tale, inspired by real accounts, shows her hiding in caves, whispering to ancestors for revenge. The curse spread. German soldiers, believing African women were savage, used rape as a weapon, leaving children fathered by enemies. In South Africa, the Boer Wars, 1899 to 1902, brought more pain. British women suffered in concentration camps, but African women fared worse. Black women like 35-year-old Nomsa with medium brown skin, short afro hair, and a height of 5 feet 4 inches, were forced into labor camps. British soldiers raped them, seeing them as spoils of war. Nomsa's story, based on real testimonies, has her escaping to the mountains, the spirits of her raped sisters cursing the redcoats. Over 20,000 black women and children died in these camps from disease and abuse. The curse of racism made white men think they could take what they wanted. In Algeria, French colonizers arrived in 1830. They took land from Berber and Arab women. French soldiers raped women in villages, calling it civilizing. Fictional Laila, a 28-year-old Algerian woman with olive skin, long black hair in a hijab, and a height of 5 feet 3 inches, fought back with her family, but the curse of French guns silenced her. Real accounts from the Algerian War of Independence, 1954 to 1962, show how rape was used to break resistance. Over 1 million Algerians died, many women tortured and assaulted. In Kenya, British settlers took Kikuyu land in the 1900s. Women like 22-year-old Wanjiku with dark skin, braided hair, and a height of 5 feet 2 inches, were forced into farms. British soldiers raped them, believing it was their right. Wanjiku's fictional escape to the Mau Mau forest, inspired by real events, has her joining rebels, the spirits of abused women cursing the colonizers. The Mau Mau Uprising, 1952 to 1960, saw British camps where women were beaten and raped. Over 11,000 Kikuyu died. In Rhodesia, Zimbabwe, British Cecil Rhodes stole land for farms. Shona women suffered. Fictional Chipo, a 26-year-old Shona woman with dark skin, short natural hair, and a height of 5 feet 1 inch, saw her family's land taken. She hid in the bush, hearing ancestor spirits curse the white settlers. Real history shows British forces raped women during the First Kimurenga Rebellion in 1896, killing thousands. Colonization's curse was economic too. Women worked mines in South Africa, raped by white overseers. In Belgian Congo, women harvested rubber, beaten if slow. The fictional curse of the ancestors, like Nala's prayer to Umoja, shows the pain, spirits promising revenge. Real missionaries reported women's suffering, but colonizers ignored it. Resistance came from women. In Dahomey, the Dahomey Amazons, female warriors, fought French in 1892. Queen Hangbi led them, but French guns won. Fictional Hangbi's daughter, 19-year-old with dark skin, shaved head, and a height of 5 feet 4 inches, swore a curse on the French. Real Amazons, over 2,000 strong, were raped and killed. The curse lingers. Colonial borders caused wars like Rwanda's genocide, where Hutu women were raped. In South Africa, apartheid raped black women's dignity. But Africa fights back. Women like Wangari Maathai plant trees, reclaiming land. This is the bad, true history of white men's colonization in Africa, a tale of greed, rape, and curses that still haunt. But Africa rises, stronger. This is one of many untold stories of Africa's hidden past. Imagine how many more lie buried in the sands of time. Like, subscribe, and follow Dark Africa Files for more hidden history they never taught you in school.